Hello and welcome to this demonstration of how to use the FAA's Controller Pilot Data Link Communication Departure Clearance Service. This service allows you to receive your departure clearance as well as exchange messages with the controller using CPDLC. In this short video, we'll demonstrate the logon process, session establishment, clearance request, and CPDLC message processing. For purposes of the demonstration, we'll assume that the aircraft is powered up, IRUs are aligned, a flight plan has been filed for the aircraft tail number and flight ID, also that the flight plan has been preloaded into the aircraft. A connection must first be established with the system in order to communicate using Comm. The pilot can log on to KUSA at any time within 90 minutes of the proposed departure time or P time. A session will not be established until at least P-30 and after the controller has reviewed the filed flight plan and moved it to the prepared list. In normal operations, this is expected shortly after P-30. In congested operations such as weather, runway changes, and large pushes, it can be P-20 or less. To log on, select ATC on the MCDU or ATC logon screen of the flight deck. In the Log On To field, enter KUSA, regardless of which airport you are departing from. Enter your entire flight ID in the field indicated. For example, UAL 9901. This must be identical to the entire flight ID filed on the flight plan. If the flight ID does not exactly match what is filed on your flight plan, you will see a rejected logon, and a failure to establish a session will result. In this event, you are encouraged to re-enter the information and reattempt a connection. There is no limit to the number of connection attempts. If the field is not already populated, enter your tail number. For example, November 6 Niner 826. Like the flight ID, this needs to match the filed flight plan. Most connection failures result from an incorrectly entered flight ID or tail number, usually a detail like omitting the N, transposing the numbers, or not including the company letters in the flight ID. To initiate the logon, select the Send button. You should notice the word Accepted appear. After the controller has processed your clearance and moved it to the prepared list, your display should read ATC Comm Established in your scratchpad. Finally, verify ATC Center, which in our example should display KUSA. After P-30 and after the controller has processed your flight plan, your clearance will be sent to the aircraft. No manual clearance request is required. After logging on, you should see ATC Message in the scratchpad, or on some models, this alert is displayed in the ICAS. Depending on the model, you may also notice the message light on the MCDU illuminates when a message is received. If you re-log on to the system and do not see a clearance after P-30, you should make a voice request to have your clearance resent through Comm. There are only two possibilities when receiving your initial clearance. Either you are cleared as filed, or the controller has changed your clearance. The first example we'll look at is the most common you should experience in the tower environment, the cleared as filed. You'll need to review the message that is received. Select Uplink. In this case, you received a cleared as filed message. Cleared as filed messages should contain a SID and/or climb out instructions, squawk, and radio frequencies. Use the Next Page button on the MCDU to view the entire message and verify the contents match your expectations. For a cleared as filed message with no altitude assigned, you will notice there is no option to reject the message. If in the rare case you no longer intend to fly the route you filed, you'll have to revert to voice to make your request. Once a cleared as filed has been received, you will be able to reject any future revisions. We'll look at revisions to accepted clearances a little later in this video. Press Accept to acknowledge the cleared as filed message to ATC. Add your SID, transition, and runway, and then select Execute on the MCDU. You will want to clean up any discontinuities on the screens. You have just received and accepted your first Datacom clearance message. If the controller cannot provide you with a cleared as filed, you will receive a revised initial clearance. As with any clearance, you will need to review it. This simulation starts after logon. Wait for the audio chime or visual indication alerting you to the received message. Select Uplink to view the message received and the Next Page button on the MCDU to view the entire message. You should receive a new route or new portion of the route you originally requested, as well as SID and/or climb out instructions, altitudes, squawk, and radio frequencies. To review the message, load the message using Line Select key and page through the clearance while observing the route specifics on the MCDU and nav display. After your review, if you determine that you are able to comply with the new clearance, select Send associated with Accept. If not, select Send associated with Reject. Do not include a reason with the rejection. If the clearance cannot be accepted, you must contact the controller on voice after sending the rejection. Add your SID, transition, and runway, then select Execute on the MCDU. You will want to clean up any discontinuities on the screens. You have just processed your first Datacom revised clearance. You can receive clearances at the gate, in the movement area, or on taxiways to the hold short line. In this next scenario, you have already received and accepted your clearance and are now taxiing when the controller has to change your clearance. You are alerted to a new ATC message visually as well as by chime. Select ATC on the MCDU and read the revised clearance, taking note of what has changed. You may be receiving a whole new route, a portion of the route, a new SID, or even a non-route revision. Regardless of the type of revision received, you will need to review the new clearance in its entirety. However, the revision contains indications that will direct you to what has changed. To review the clearance content, select the Load prompt and page through the clearance while observing the route specifics on the MCDU and nav display. If the route changed, you should notice a dotted white line, which is the new route, and a magenta line, which is your previously cleared route. If you determine that you are able to comply with the new clearance, select Send associated with Accept. If not, select Send associated with Reject. Add your SID, transition, and runway, and then select Execute on the MCDU. You will want to clean up any discontinuities on the screens. You have just processed a Datacom revised clearance message. Our next video will cover CPDLC en route operations in the contiguous United States. This video does not attempt to cover every detail of the new services being offered by the FAA, nor does it cover all of the issues that might prevent the system from delivering message traffic and require the crew to revert to voice communications. These procedures are not intended to replace those found in company standard operating procedures, FAA regulations, or FAA guidance. We hope this video provides a basic understanding of CPDLC DCL and how to use these services to reduce communication delays at busy airports. Additional information regarding this system is available from your company or the NAS Data Communications Guide. Thanks for watching.